you so much for being here.
Mr. Davies, how are you, sir?
Pretty damn good.
Pretty damn good. God, I love your voice, sir.
When you weigh up the alternative, I'm pretty damn good, yes.
You know what? She's pretty damn nervous because she is your biggest fan, sir.
The biggest one.
She doesn't look that
Pleasure
tall
for
to
me.
me, more hobbit size than anything else.
She does have
Thank
hobbit
you for being
size.
here.
How are you all?
I'm great. I'm nervous being aware of this, but thank
Thank
you
you,
so
thank
much
you.
for your
Listen,
presence.
thank you all for coming.
Aê, galera!
Really nice to see you all here.
Que beleza, o Gimli em pessoa aqui, minha gente. Aê!
Look, so many axes, sir. They brought so many axes for you.
Hey, the axe! Just remember, if you ever have to do any wet work, use an axe. Hey, that's the weapon of choice. I like to hit them just below the knee, and then I like to scramble their brains.
Olha aí, galera! Sensacional, Mr.
that's
John
amazing.
Rhys.
He's the best.
Would you please sit right next to the Hobbit lady?
The
Is
best
it worthy?
crossover ever. The
Let
best
him-
crossover you can get in here is this one.
Could you sit over here? Right there.
I have to sit down now.
Well, for now.
If you want to.
We can have a little chat.
They're wanting me to behave, I think.
Just if you want.
There
of
you
course.
are.
Just until the orcs arrive, sir.
Right, now what are we going to talk about? Oh, first of all,
Oh,
First
Here we
of
go.
all, can I just tell you all how admired you have become in the world by having a peaceful election without any incident. You are now recognized as a really mature democracy.
olha aí.
Very good.
You're perfect. Thank you.
That's nice to hear, sir.
That's great to hear. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for being back. It's really amazing to have you back here, CCXP. Thank you so much.
Lovely to be back in beautiful Brazil, where all the men are handsome and all the women beautiful. Yeah!
Ah, that's amazing.
I feel like I should have a beer or something in my hand to just after every sentence you give. You know, I feel like I should have a beer or an axe or a sword, you know, to wave around. You, sir, you have you ever had this powerful voice of yours since you were a little kid? When was it that you just started to, you know, gain this power?
Well, the truth is, God looked down and he saw what an idiot I am.
Come on.
And he thought, I've got to give this kid something.
You already have everything.
But the truth is, those of us who were raised as stage actors, you know, can project because we didn't have microphones.
There you
So
go.
That's what happens. You have to use the voice.
You learn to project your voice since you begin your first day at the theater, is that it?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
but my first day at the theater was at a very good school.
Oh.
I was a wild colonial boy, and my school knew how to tame colonial boys. They introduced me to Shakespeare,
All right.
and I found the language to express my adolescent rage.
Oh, you were an adolescent raged boy. All right, Isa. Should I call you Isa or Isa?
I think Isa has a different vibe. I like Isa, but the right is Isa.
Is Isa more British, sir? Isa. Or
Isa is the name of a river.
a river.
A river.
I'm a river. I like it.
That's good.
I would love to be a river.
The Red River, should I say.
On Linden, when the sun was low, all bloodless lay the untrodden snow, and dark as Isa, and dark as river was the flow of Isa rolling rapidly. Few shall part where many meet. The snow shall be their winding sheet, and every turf beneath their feet shall be a soldier's sepulchre.
Olha aí, galera!
Amém.
Que isso, Isa? Pra você, hein?
I'm in love. I'm in love right now. I'm sorry.
She's
I
gonna
have to admit
faint,
it. I'm
sir.
in love.
You're gonna make this hobbit faint. Is she more like a hobbit or an elf? I would
I'm
say.
a hobbit. I'm just too little to be an elf.
Too little to be an elf?
Too short. I can't.
All right.
If I'm allowed to say something, I think this is kind of poetic and songful and this beautiful.
It is.
I mean, this kind of rhymes. This is what makes like epic, like Tolkien's epics, so amazing and so beautiful. And I think that part of it is this talent, this amazing talent that we got to see here improvising.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's an amazing opportunity for me, and I'm really so happy because Lord of the Rings has always been an important part of my life since I was a kid, and you have always been a part of my childhood and my teenage, and it's amazing to be like this distance from you.
It's interesting, isn't it? I think in some ways the dwarf is the most human of the characters
All right.
because he has all the bad things that we possess, the jealousy, the suspicion, the aggression, the hostility. And yet he has also all the abilities or the qualities that we hope we can acquire. Warmth, friendship, protectiveness,
Sure.
courage, and above all, the ability to change from aggression and hostility into love.
Sure.
And the loyalty, I think, is a very important part of dwarves. I think loyalty is like part of their culture. You know that when you have a dwarf by your side, you're not going to be betrayed or something. It's different when you have an elf by your side. Like, we know the stories.
Yes,
The dwarves are so much better.
And
Oh, yeah.
Gimli has this very, I would say, one of the most interesting arcs in respect to his own view of the world, the view of the other races, especially the elves. From the Gimli we get to know at the start of the movie, at the end, with the friendship, but not only a friendship, but the way he saw the elves and that old, suspicion that they had with the elves and all that. So he represents this wonderful arc that you just
Yes,
exemplified.
yes. And and there's something wonderful about the reason Gimli is funny is he doesn't realize he's small.
Yeah.
Everybody else realizes that, but as far as he's concerned, he's a giant amongst giants, I suppose. But he is a giant in his own mind. It's only when he's running up and down the hills that he's beginning to realize that we dwarves are natural sprinters and not long-distance men. Yeah.
Actually, we have one Gimli over here. I mean, another one. And you can see he's the strongest and the most fiercer warrior of all. How is it to have your image portrayed in a toy like this?
Because for us, Mr. Davis, the thing is, for us, the action figure or collectibles, as sometimes we say, is part of our lives. I mean, we watch movies, we immediately go online and try to find an action figure of you, sir. But for you, I imagine it's got to be way different because you saw this industry grow up, right? I mean, they didn't have Salah action figures right at the beginning of when Indiana Jones came out, right?
Oh, yes, they did.
They did.
They did?
Right in the 80s.
Yes, it actually had a Salah figure which was, quote, posable at the neck, shoulders, hips.
All right. Pretty movable.
I got given one by a girlfriend of mine who said, that just about sums up your acting, isn't it? She didn't last long.
Yeah. Ooh.
And by the way, we also have a Legolas action figure in here, and I think we could take this dispute once and for all. Who is the best warrior, in your opinion, Legolas or Gimli? I have
You have to ask the question. The problem with your pointy ears, he cheats all the time.
Yeah.
Right? That's the problem with him.
I think
anyone can go.
it's easier. It's easier. I think Legolas is really good in a far away distance combat, but Gimli can also throw the axe and this kind of things. So I think he's like a more trustable warrior. I don't know. I think like he's better, but Legolas has like this vibe because of the bow. But if you're going to do
All right, if you're into
Yeah,
a
he's better.
pointy ear with blonde hair and things like that, who can walk on the snow without making a mark, oh, that's your sort of guy then, isn't it? But the real woman goes for a dwarf.
everything is easier when you're blonde. Everything.
Mr. Davies, from Salah in the Indiana Jones movies, all the way up to Gimli and the other amazing work you do, you did a lot of fantasy and sci-fi work. What is it that you have? So what kind of magic you think you do have as an actor or as a person that somehow attracts you to these works, or at least causes something in us, the audiences, to want to see you in sci-fi and fantasy movies?
Well, I really don't know. I mean, I've just been very lucky in being offered work, and all actors believe that they are ready for the big time the moment they're born, really.
They do.
The sad thing is we actually have to learn our craft. And for those of you who want to be actors or who want to be in the film business, this is the great democratic age to do that. Why? Because all of you are holding those little cameras of yours, and what you should do, you should get 4 or 5 of you together, and you say, we're going to make a 2-minute movie, and I'm going to write it, you're going to direct it, you two are going to be in it, and,
I like it.
and she is going to edit the whole thing.
There you go.
And you do it in
Resolvido. It's
do it-
settled.
You do it in 2 minutes, and the next week you put it out on YouTube and nobody cares, and the next week you make another one. I gained 2 minutes, but this time I'm going to act in it, you're going to write it. We swap the roles round,
All right.
and you learn to tell a story through the lens of the camera. And if you've done this for 5 weeks and put out 5 2-minute movies, then go and make a 5-minute movie, and then a 25-minute movie, and then make a big movie. And by the time you've done that, you are a filmmaker. You also know what a lens does when it comes on your face, and you know how to edit, and you know how to hold a camera and take a picture. Above all, it is about telling a story through the lens. So that was basically what I learned.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Thank you so much, sir.
And it's still,
Come back and sit.
Please come back in here.
after all this journey, sometimes you have the opportunity to revisit some characters like we're doing right now with Salah. Yesterday we had the title of the new Indiana Jones movie, and it's called Dial of Fate.
Dial of Fate.
Yeah, it seems big. It seems amazing.
It's got to be a really big dial then.
I don't know if you, sir, are into spoilers, but what could you talk about the return of Salah in this new Indiana Jones movie?
Yeah. All right, sir. That was your first role for me. I was a little kid, just like she was.
for me too.
For us, yeah. While she was watching you as Gimli and going nuts, we were watching you as Salah, helping Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I'm really younger than Dan.
Well, I'd like to be able to help you, but I'm not allowed to talk about it, am I?
Yeah, I know.
The confidentiality rules are so stringent that I daren't mention it. All I can say is It has a great Indiana Jones in it. It has a great script. It has a great director, an extraordinary cast, and it's going to be a very big film.
All right.
All right, all right, all right.
There you go, sir.
I'm really convinced that.
Go ahead.
Ask you a question about Tolkien, because were you a Tolkien fan, a reader of his books before you got cast for?
No, I found the books boring. I have two grown sons. One came home from school at the age of about 8 or 9, and he...
Just let it go. Let them
Sorry
talk.
about that.
Don't worry.
Somebody was speaking in my ear.
Take it off.
When I was 8 or 9, and he locked himself in his room, and he stayed there until he'd finished the book. My younger son and I both tried to read it. I read it to him, he tried to read it to me, and we would both fall asleep doing it.
I kind of understand. I can't judge you because it's really a hard book to read. It's so detailed and it has so this tiny letters. I understand.
Well, yes. But, you know, one of the interesting things is that different audiences have a different response, and different audiences are smarter or less smart depending on the film. The Lord of the Rings audience is a very smart audience.
Yes.
Partly because most of them read the book before they saw the film, or having seen the film, they've gone back and read the book. It's a damn big, thick book. And if you can get through it, you're very smart. The Lord of the Rings audience is the smartest audience for a movie that I know of.
Oh, that's right.
And I believe that after shooting Lord of the Rings, after 2 years, I believe you were connected with this universe. What is it about the Tolkien universe that you miss the most? Did you hear that?
Vamos lá, só repetindo a pergunta aqui. Porque caiu no ponto. All right.
Okay, all right, all right.
You can repeat it.
Since you did the Lord of the Rings after, like 2 years shooting?
No, it was actually, I went there in September 1999, and I think I finished shooting in May or June of 2003.
Oh, that's a long time, 4 years.
It was a long time, yes.
All right, now you're connected forever with this universe. What is the things that you miss the most about Tolkien universe and the movies and the fellowship?
One of the most remarkable collections of actors I've ever worked with. Every part is brilliant. I frankly didn't think the film could possibly be made. Tolkien didn't think it could be made either as a film. That's why he sold it so cheaply, because he had a bill to pay for the tax man.
Yeah.
Peter Jackson and Fran made a movie that could not possibly be made. I didn't believe it would be made, and I went there thinking, this is really a waste of time. These people they have no idea how difficult it is to make a big movie. And they did it. And in every department, I discovered that Peter Jackson had built a film company of the highest standards in every department. It was extraordinary. It is, I think, probably the greatest piece of film industry making in the latter half of the 20th century. The early filmmakers, they went into the desert and they shot their little movies and slowly built studios. Peter Jackson created a studio from virtually nothing, but not just a small studio. He created one of the great film studios in the world.
Mm-hmm. And I had the biggest luck to visit New Zealand and to visit Welland. And it's a protected environment. and it's a small town, it's a small place, and the studio seems bigger. And the things that he builds there seems bigger because it's a really kind of tiny place.
Is it?
And with a culture that's like, it's really well protected. And I mean, it should have been really special. And I think, is that why the cast had the tattoos, the Fellowship of the Ring had the tattoos?
Oh, that damn tattoo
Tattoos.
thing again. Look,
I want to see the tattoo.
those drunken little hobbits went out debauching themselves and came back home staggering drunk and said, John, we've had a great idea. We're going to have the Elvish word for 9, the 9 members of the Fellowship, tattooed, and you're going to have it too. I said, are you out of your tiny minds? Do I look like the sort of idiot that will have my beautiful skin broken by a drunken Maori with a dirty needle? No. They said yes. I resisted. They counter-resisted. They counter-attacked. I counter-attacked. I resisted. And in the end, I sent my stunt double to have it, which is what any sensible actor would do.
That's amazing.
Mr. Davies, Gimli has many of the well-known catchphrases from the movie. After the movie comes out, many of the great phrases become catchphrases and even memes. Are you aware, as you are saying them, that they will become as, you know, as famous as they end up being? Do you feel it?
They are
in any
become
way?
famous right now.
Yeah, yeah, they are now. But I mean, when you said like a mine, and all that, did you know that you were creating, you know, a big catchphrase, a big scene?
When they're written by Tolkien, you deliver them in the best way that you can to serve the story at the time. Sometimes Peter Jackson will allow me to be a bit naughty, and he would allow me to improvise. I think it was a collective thing between us. Nobody tosses a dwarf.
Really?
That isn't in Tolkien.
That is one of them, yeah.
And we were in the little green screen stage, and we were jumping from one thing to another, and Gimli was making his jump, and I teetered back like that, and dear Orlando thought I was falling off, so he instinctively reached out and grabbed my beard, and I grabbed his wrist and said, "Not the beard." Basically, because it would have meant another 5 or 6 hours in makeup if he'd pulled it off.
There you go.
Sometimes memes get created that way. But, I mean, sometimes actors, intelligent actors like Patrick Stewart when he did Captain Kirk, not Captain Kirk, Captain
Picard.
Picard.
Yeah.
Picard, he used a nautical expression that he knew would be would add to the story and add to the history of the thing. Make it so, number one.
Make it so, number one.
You know, when in the days of the sailing ships, captains would give instructions and you know, set the course set for Rio de Janeiro. Make it so, number one. And that he added
I see.
to Spacevice, and that becomes a great meme as well. But that's the actor being particularly intelligent.
I see, sir. Yeah. There you go.
And you mentioned the bird, and I have a very specific question. Is it true that you had allergic reactions because of the fake bird and the fake hair you had to use? And the
No.
just rumors.
We were
Just
using
gossip.
medical adhesive, which is hypoallergenic. It won't create an allergy, but it binds to the skin around the cells of your skin. It's not designed to be taken off on a daily basis and replaced. So every time it got taken off, it took off a layer of cells. And the skin under your eyes is about the thickness of 2 cigarette papers.
Jeez.
And once you get rid of it, then you end up with a big, blotchy red, lobster red mark around your face. I looked particularly unattractive, even more so than normal. Anyway, yes. So no, it was just one of those things.
Yeah, the hardships of special effects. Speaking on special effects, I guess Sir Ian McKellen once said that he had some sort of a breakdown one day because he was working too much with green screen. Did you have, what was your feelings working with so much special effects in the trilogy? Because you had worked with special effects before.
I think all actors, all of us need a full spectrum to be sane. We're not designed to be in one color, blue or green. And at the end of the day, you come out of a green screen session and you have no depth perception quite.
I see.
It's like being in a room and painting white walls. I'm sure we've all done that. I hated it. And the guys who were doing the new Star Wars in Australia at the same time, they used to say that after 3 or 4 weeks, they would all be really depressed. They would all feel miserable and unhappy, basically because we need a full spectrum.
I see.
Incidentally, you do realize that the great days of being a film actor are coming to an end.
Oh, come on.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because all this stuff is now going to be done in video stages. All the sets, all the locations are shortly going to be just created in a video screen, in this new sort of virtual scenery that they're constructing. So it won't be a question of coming to Brazil to shoot a film, or going to Mexico, or going to Tunisia to shoot the desert. The desert will come to us, and it will become... Film is one of the great international businesses. You know, we all work with each other, we go to each other's countries, we meet the best and finest technicians and directors, and it's all going to change. It's all going to be like coming to work in a factory, and only people, the only people you'll meet are the people you always meet on every damn film. It's going to become very effective for the money people.
I see.
And very effective, but the old days of going on a location, they're coming to an end.
To an end, maybe, yeah.
I hate it. Hate it.
I see. Now, if I could add just one last quick question. Would you, since you just told us that, would you allow you to be digitized, to be used in a movie or in a special, maybe even a video game, you know?
Oh, it's already happening.
Because it is happening.
It is happening, and there's probably now enough footage for people to recreate me digitally. They won't actually have to pay because,
sure,
you know, they'll say, well, you know, yes, it was built on a number of actors who looked like Rhys-Davies, and you know, and we'll synthesize his voice. He'll be able to speak like this, but in Portuguese or anything like that. That will happen, which brings me to the most exciting thing of all. The great thing about this digital revolution of ours is at last we have chance to really create something extraordinary. Look, our Queen, the Queen of England, recently died.
Yes.
She had 70 years, I think, of being a queen, and she met most of the great men of that part of the 20th century. Now she's gone, it's all gone with her. That's wisdom, that understanding. All of you will one day, or perhaps already have, lose a father or a mother or a grandfather or a grandma, and all that wisdom is gone. But today we have the ability to record and digitalize all that information, and it's quite cheap relatively to do it. Imagine now that we take all the information on your little phones and we will store that throughout your lives. We'll be able to see your children as babies born, growing up. Later on, we could add their friends' views of them at school. We could then continue this in the course of your life. We could digitalize all the information that's about you, and we could create avatars for each and every one of us, so that your great-grandchildren could walk into a room one day and press a button, and there would be the figure of your great-grandfather, who would turn to you and say, "Hello, who are you?"
Ladies and gentlemen, over here, John Rhys-Davies. This is beautiful. This was amazing. A master class over here. Thank you so much, sir.
So much, honey. Thank you.
You're a wonderful audience, a wonderful people. It is a joy to be amongst you, and God bless you all.
All right, could you take a picture real quick over here?
Criança, chega aí, vamos lá.
Oh, real cool. Thank you so much, sir. Olha só,
Thank you.
enquanto a gente tá aqui com o John Rhys-Davies saindo do palco, vamos com o Omelete Circula!
Salva de
Porque
palmas
Lariel
aí.
está aí fora produzindo um monte de coisa nessa CCXP. Muito obrigado, pessoal. Muito obrigado, John Rhys-Davies!
Tá bem, Isa? Tá bem?
Não tô bem não, gente.
As perninhas.
Minhas pernas
Vamos lá,
já
Omelete
perdeu
circula.
todo o equilíbrio delas, todas as minhas veias se estouraram aqui.
Alguém
mas
traz
foi
um-
maravilhoso.
Maravilhoso, incrível.
Nossa, como ele é
Maravilhoso.
incrível, muito gentil, muito expressivo, fala com a galera, muito simpático. Ele é o Gimli, né? Dá pra sentir uma energia muito do Gimli nele, da dedicação que ele teve no papel e no trabalho dele nesses